sometimes the hits, they just aren't enough. What is good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. If you are rocking with this content, go ahead and smash that like button. Also subscribe if you haven't. But today, I'm going to be hitting y'all with my thoughts on the epic versus battle that occurred last night between two historic rap labels, Cash Money and No Limit. Now, it is impossible to think of New Orleans hip-hop and just Southern rap in general without mentioning certain albums and contributions from both of these two camps. So it's been since about 2022 since we've had the last Verzuz, which was between Cypress Hill and Onyx, and that was kind of a disappointment. So Verzuz appears to be back. It's kind of a surreal feeling. Hopefully this is not just a one and done return. But yeah, this was a grand showdown for the Battle of New Orleans rap supremacy. It was the fourth Southern Verzuz matchup thus far. Recall we had the 2 Chainz and Ross, the Gucci and Jeezy, and of course the UGK versus Ball and G. Now, going into the No Limit and Cash Money Verzuz, the general consensus was that No Limit were the underdogs and that Cash Money was favored to win because of their big hits, their big bangers, and just all the commercial success. But sometimes it's just not about that. Actually, prior verses remind us that other factors matter too. But I do want to jump right into the breaking down of these rounds and then share my scorecard and overall thoughts on who won. So starting with the first round, Juvenile performed 400 Degrees, and this is a mega classic beat from Manny Fresh. It's still timeless to this day. And Juvenile's vocals were crispy. He seemed to be in top-notch vocal shape. However, this really wasn't a match for the banger Posse Cut No Limit Soldiers. And a song like this really goes back to the essence of what made No Limit so iconic, so unique. And just seeing them all on stage together in the fatigues, I think sealed the deal for a lot. So as great as 400 Degrees is as a solo song on stage, it just wasn't enough for the No Limit Soldiers. Round 2, Big Timers, Still Fly versus Master P's Break 'Em Off Something. So Still Fly is indeed a smash commercial anthem, but Break 'Em Off Something is something about it just personifies the rawness of early No Limit and Master P. Not only did you have Fire Pimp C production, but P's vocals on the original track and in this Verzuz are very energetic and rowdy. And the way he performed it, it just hit harder than Still Fly. The next round, Project Chick versus Freak Hoes. So Project Chick has more of an iconic instrumental. It's more of a well-known song. And I got to give this one to Cash Money. Also because of Juvenile's MVP-worthy performance. I mean, he kind of did do the whole acapella thing, really channeling a Jadakiss type of energy here. So while Freak Hoes is a strip club banger and an earlier No Limit anthem from that TRU album, I do have to give the edge to Project Chick. It's only reasonable. Now, next round was We On Fire or Rich Ends from Juvenile versus How We Do That by Young Bleed. So both are great songs within the respective camps. But I just feel the Young Bleed song means more to the No Limit canon than the Juvenile one does to Cash Money. And just the energy was more amped for the Young Bleed performance. And it was dope that they brought Young Bleed out. And I do have No Limit winning this round. Next one is Cash Money is the Army versus Urbans and Lax by Master P. So this one wasn't easy, but I am going to give the round to the Tank. I just think this is a classic, smooth country rap tune that to this day just sounds a little better. Sure, Cash Money is the Army is like a definitive BG record, and it was from his classic album, but I just think Master P performed it better, and it's just a bigger song overall. So following this round was Slow Motion by Juvenile versus Mercedes I Can Tell featuring Mac. So unfortunately, Mercedes did not come out to the stage for the performance, which does sound whack. That is without knowing the specifics why. And look, while I was happy to see Mac home from being unjustly incarcerated for so long, I will say Slow Motion is the better song here. I mean, it's just a landmark record for Cash Money. And while the Mercedes song, is probably a classic for some, I just don't feel it holds up. Like realistically, it's not beating out Slow Motion. In another round, it's probably winning though. Then following this was another round that on the surface might lean in favor of BG, and that was Bling Bling versus It Ain't My Fault. So look, it is hard to compete against Bling Bling since that was the song that really took Cash Money to that next commercial level. And the beat and hook to this day is still crazy. However, I do feel No Limit came through with a strong counterpunch in Silk the Shockers, It Ain't My Fault. I will say Silk did bring the energy here, and it was enough to put this record over the top for me, but I feel this could go either way. And then for round 8, we had Juvenile Set It Off versus Master P's Ice Cream Man. So this was a clear win for No Limit without a doubt. Now, this is one of Master P's most well-known tracks, and he just delivered it in that boss-like charisma that was hard to match. And look, while Juvenile Set It Off is a gutter banger with that definitive New Orleans energy, you got to be objective here and give it to Ice Cream Man. So following this was Big Timer's #1 Stunner versus Master P's Bout It Bout It. So this was a body bag win for No Limit. And the beginning of the end for Cash Money in this verses. Bout It is an essential No Limit song, a classic Southern rap track overall. It has a 5-mic instrumental. Remember the video for it. The energy was insane. And Mia X killed it live. It's just way more of a classic record than #1 Stunner. Even though, look, some folks really would hold #1 Stunner in high regard. And that's cool, but I don't feel it holds a candle to Bout It. This may just come down to the casual listener versus the hardcore hip-hop head. The hip-hop head's probably going to go with Bout It. Then there's Big Timers Get Your Roll On versus Make 'Em Say, This was another easy round for me. Now, both are high energy slappers, but Make 'Em Say is just a better posse cut overall. The No Limit energy was crazy again. Fiend really rocked it, as well as Mia X. Okay, so round 11 was the Hot Boys I Need a Hot Girl versus Choppa's Choppa Style. So I probably would prefer listening to the Hot Boy track over Choppa Style in the car and on headphones. Just on paper, I feel it's a better song. However, I might have to give this round to No Limit just due to the charisma and the over-the-top energy that Choppa brought. And for round 12, Cash Money performed a Milli, but without Lil Wayne, which I have to say wasn't too surprising, but still disappointing nonetheless. Now, some are saying Wayne didn't perform because Turk didn't. So that could be. But it just further highlights, the disunity that just weakened Cash Money's chances in this verses. So you had a Milli with no Wayne up against Down For My featuring Snoop, and that was just the final nail in the coffin. Having Snoop come through for No Limit was big. Look, I even feel that if you've been annoyed with Snoop lately, or if you haven't loved the way he's moved within the past couple years, I think Snoop may have redeemed himself with this move, because this is clearly one of those for the culture moments where Snoop came through as a real one, as Master P was a real one for him. So it's only right. Now, prior to this round, Manny Fresh did say that the verses was going to end in 4 minutes, and that was, I think, an immediate letdown for most people. I'm pretty sure a lot of us remember the earlier versus matchups that would last like what, 18 rounds or so. So then Cash Money ended this with Juvenile's Back That Ass Up, and as fantastic of a song as that is, it just didn't hit with the same energy that it could have after you had Snoop just steal the show. So overall, I do have No Limit winning this. My scorecard was 10-2, No Limit. I suppose I could go 9-3 if I do give BG that round for Bling Bling. Sure, Cash Money had some good moments, but altogether, I feel their performances did resemble Dipset's in their competition with the Locks, in that they were less prepared. On the other hand, No Limit was far more prepared. No Limit had better chemistry here. They had a better stage presence. They went in with the logic that those raw street anthems, when performed well, they are going to beat out those big, glossy commercial records. And that's exactly what we saw happen with that Locks versus Dipset. Because on paper, a lot of people going into it were under the assumption that Dipset might dominate due to some of their more commercial tracks. And I'd also say another reason No Limit won here is because they just look better on stage. It might not matter to some people, but No Limit as a whole just looked more in shape physically. Now, to be fair, I will say on the Cash Money side, Juvenile was the one who looked like he had it the most together. I mean, Juvenile was in his bag. He seemed the hungriest, and his vocals were just the crispiest on that Cash Money side throughout. It was kind of hard to tell with BG, in all honesty. I mean, Manny Fresh looked completely out of shape physically, although clear-headed. Conversely, though, Birdman, not in the greatest shape. He looked like he was either drunk or high, and his energy wasn't really all that positive. He came across as overly boastful and a little insecure, just kind of bitter overall. But it just seemed that No Limit's energy on the flip side was just a lot more positive. Now, I will give BG and Juvenile, their respect for showing some love to No Limit at the end, and Manny Fresh too. But Baby, he was one of the biggest weaknesses for Cash Money at this event. I also think No Limit did have an advantage by going second, because it did give them an opportunity to counterpunch and to change the tempo when needed. But it also just goes to show, again, at the end of the day, it's not really about the hits in these verses. People seem to just be more engaged with those raw street anthems when the chemistry is just right, and those posse tracks over the glossy commercial ones. And that's not to say that the more commercial tracks can't be performed well, or that they don't succeed in verses, but here I don't think they were performed that well by Cash Money. Wayne's absence did hurt them considerably too. I mean, I don't know how great Wayne would have performed vocally, in all honesty. I don't know how clear-headed he would have been, but him not being there, it hurt them. And look, Juvenile was clearly the MVP for Cash Money without a doubt. I gotta hand it to Juvenile for rising to the occasion. And I am looking forward to his new album, which I believe is supposed to drop in November, maybe. I would say Mia X was clearly the MVP for No Limit. She has always been fiercely underrated, and it was good to see her looking good, sounding good, and performing with that hunger. So yeah, Mia X, she definitely rose to the occasion, as well as Juvenile, but I'd also say that Fiend, Snoop, and Master P delivered. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What was your scorecard? Did anyone have Cash Money winning? But it's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out. As always, it's peace and blessings. One.